start with AI, and then I'll go to the doctor and say, listen, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm seeing. AI helps me communicate with the doctor much more efficiently, much more effectively. Um, yeah, so it's pretty crazy to see. Hey, MJ, good morning. Glad you're here. Let's go. There we go. Letting more people in. Let them in. Come on in, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Icebreaker question for you guys as you're coming in. How many of you know you should be making video content, but keep putting it off because maybe you don't know where to start? Maybe it feels overwhelming, right? Who kind of feels that? And a genuine question. You can say that you feel you don't need to make video content. It's not a wrong answer. It's your answer. I genuinely just want to kind of know where your sentiment is about that. But need to do more. So you do, so Bonnie, you're saying you do a little video content, but you need to do more. You're feeling that pressure that you need to do more. I get that. And then MJ, you said is it just getting started in video, or is it the editing part that is kind of holding you back, making you feel overwhelmed? Definitely editing for Bonnie. I mean, I think editing for many people is very daunting once you get into it because it's like I don't know, in a way it's almost like going into a grocery store and you know you need to cook food, but you have no plan, no recipe, no list, right? And so then there's just a ton of things that you can do. And you're just like, but I have no idea. And oh, I could try this, but then it doesn't even work with this. And like, there's just a lot. I was very overwhelmed when I started getting into any sort of editing. I was just like, there's so many tools. And in those tools, there's 1,000 different things you can do. It's overwhelming. Sarah, I've started doing them, but need more consistency. Yep. Yep. What's preventing you from doing the consistency, Sarah? Is it just time? Is it lack of direction? Is it even just being discouraged? Like, gosh, this is just too much work for too little results. I've been there for plenty of my content history. Direction and easy to get out of the habit. Oh man, is it ever? And to be honest, all good things I feel like are the easiest things to get out of habit. Probably because those are the things we have to do every day. And so it doesn't feel bad right away when we just miss one day, right? We just skip one time, but then it keeps stacking up. Let more people in. About one more minute or so. Hello, Robert. Good to see you. Barbara, good to see you. I see other people's names. Would love to see those videos. Come on, don't be hiding. Hey, Steven. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi. It's okay. If you're driving, you do not have to message. I won't hold you to it. Yeah, be safe. All right, one more minute, guys. We're still letting people in, and then we are going to get started. But again, for everybody who just came in, how many of you know you should be making video content, but keep putting it off for one reason or another? Let's drop it in the chat. Yes, you know you should be making more content, but X keeps getting in the way. Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. And it's 5 after. Let's get this party started. All right, everybody. We are going to get going. So, this is for all the agents who know videos, build trust, and get more engagement, but still haven't made one because they don't know where to start. And I would say that that's actually the majority of agents, um, right? Actually, very few people actually make videos. Nick, you might know this. Like on TikTok, 21% of all content, or no, sorry, all content on TikTok comes from 21% of its users.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah,
the
I'm surprised
vast
it's that
majority.
high even. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. But they count even one video, so
Right. You
you
made
got people who
something.
like accidentally uploaded it.
Sure.
Um, right? So I think a lot of agents, you guys probably fall in line. If you resonate with any of these, by the way, tell me. Tell me if this is you, right? That you know videos build trust and they get engagement, but you haven't made one yet. You don't know what to say. Or maybe you want a simple way to create expert level. Yes, it looks good. It feels good. This feels like a representation of who you are and what you offer. But you're not really interested in spending hours and hours scripting. I've been through that many times, filming, and of course, editing. Maybe that's you. Or maybe you just want to work with a specific target, investors, first time home buyers. Maybe it's just more generalized, sellers, buyers. Maybe you've got just a specific group you want to target, but you're not sure how to reach them. You're not sure how to connect and resonate with them. Right? Anybody relate to any of this? Drop it in the chat. Yes, if that's you. Okay. Drop it in the chat if that's you. If you relate to any of these things and kind of identify with these things. And while you're doing that, remember there are 4 commitments that you made to be on this call. Number one is video on. We're a little shy on those videos today. Christy, Kathleen, thanks for turning on. Good to see you guys. So happy you're here. So let's get those videos on. Just like you can't have a paper bag over your face when you're meeting with clients. And honestly, if you showed up to any other training with something covering your face, they probably kick you out, being like, "What are you doing here? You're being sketchy." So let's get those videos on. And believe it or not, I want to say, in particular, today's call, having your video on today is a kind of secret step one, which is being willing to be uncomfortable and put that video on. Laura, there we go. You said challenge accepted. Let's go. I'm here. All right. Number two is distractions off. You guys don't like wasting your own time, but it is absolutely a waste of your time to come in here and be distracted. So, whatever you got to do, mute those distractions, turn them over, put them outside, unless it's your kids. And, then I don't know. I mean, maybe if you're fenced in. All right, next is to participate. These are interactive classes. We're going to be asking lots of questions. We're going to be engaging with you because that's how we know, Nick and I know, that's the best way to extract the information and really get you to digest it is to get you involved and actually active. And then lastly, my favorite one, most important one is just go make someone else's day. Take something you learned today, go bless someone with it, share it with someone. Nick and I, we do this for free. We're blessing you here today, and we just want to keep that going forward. We think it's good for our industry and it's good for our people. All right, so one more question. How would you feel about yourself and your business if you did videos that consistently generated views, leads, and even conversations? Okay, so digest that for a second. How would you feel? Give me like a one word, accomplished, right? Maybe maybe it's excited, maybe even just proud of yourself, right? How would you feel if you consistently did videos that generated views, leads, and conversations? Type it in the chat for me real quick. I want to hear. I want to hear. Builds trust and therefore my clients and therefore boosts my business. That's the goal. Kathleen, feeling productive. Gloria, fantastic. Debbie, confident. Lauren, productive. That's right. That's right. Well, here's the good news for everybody. Everybody saying this is that's what we're trying to do for you today. And if you follow this process, that's what's going to happen. So if you want to feel that way, those things that you said, then listen close, follow the steps, because that's what you got today. Okay. So tell me if this is a scenario that you've kind of resonated with before. Some of you have probably tried to make videos. You've carved out time to record a quick video, but then 30 minutes later, you've got nothing to show for it. The script in your head doesn't sound right. Your voice doesn't sound right. Or maybe you recorded the video and you started doing the editing, but there's too many editing options. And what do I even do with the video? Just endless things. So you end up absolutely tapped out and exhausted, and you haven't even posted the video yet. So then you do publish it and it gets 0 views. And then you kind of look in the mirror and you go, what was the point of all that? Anybody resonate with that? Welcome to my first, I don't know, 20 videos. Anybody resonate with that? Okay, we're going to do our best to really show you how to make videos count. Make them fast, make them efficient, and make them have an impact on the target audience you're trying to reach. Okay? So say it with me like we do in every call. Things need to change, and they will. And it starts with one simple video because 78% of consumers, that's your clients, prefer to learn about a product or a service via a short video. So clean, concise reels align with how people actually judge expertise. Do you guys take that in for a second? 78% of your future business, that's another way of saying this. 78% of your future business would prefer that they can learn about what you offer, whether that's a program, a service, a feature, right? In a short, concise video, like what we're going to show you today. So now let's flip that script real quick. What happens if you don't start doing this? 78% of your future business is going to be displeased with the way they are communicating. And now, let's say Nick is my competitor, so I don't do the videos. I'm old school. I don't like editing. I don't like the way I sound. I don't know what to script. All the excuses, and they're legitimate, they're true, they're real excuses. I don't do that. But Nick says, yeah, I have all those excuses too, but I am going to make the videos. Who do you think long term is going to win out on these clients if we're going after the same people? It's not a trick question, right? It's a pretty easy one. Obviously, Nick. Obviously, Nick, because he's doing what people asked for. And guess what? People don't hire people to not do what they want. They hire people to do what they want. And communication is key, right? So, one short 60 to 90-second video, believe it or not, can generate up to 20 to 50 leads when promoted across like multiple social media channels and in different avenues. That could be newsletters. That could even be telling people in person. I even send my videos sometimes directly to people, straight up directly. I'll send them a link, right? And then here's the good news. Your short video isn't just a one-time post. What we're going to show you today is something that you can repeat and reshare and reuse time and time again. Right? Because it's not about being perfect on camera. It's about creating a focused video that speaks to your audience's needs and makes them want to connect with you. Okay. All right. So now we're actually going to jump into step one, which is choose your audience and your topic. This is going to sound a little familiar because this is practically the same step one from last week for those that was here and we were working on lead magnets. It's pretty much the same thing. You got to know who you're talking to and you got to know what their problems are. So Nick, why don't you talk a little bit about how to choose their audience and the problems that those audiences have?
Yeah, so I think, the first thing is to just accept that you have one, that there is a specific kind of person that's going to be more attracted to working with you and your business than other people. And what you have to understand, because this can be a little overwhelming, is if you aren't speaking as much as possible to the things that that particular person really cares about, the things that are frustrations in their life, things they're excited about, questions that they specifically have, then someone else is going to come along. They're going to be more specific, and that person's going to be drawn to them, right? So just to give you a random example, let's say you really like working with people with young kids, right? Because they've got 2 kids. There's a chance they're gonna have that third kid. They're gonna need a bigger house. That's sort of an ideal situation for real estate. So if you go out and you make videos about the kinds of challenges people with young children are having, especially related to real estate, they're going to pay attention, right? If you try to just talk about the challenges of buying a house and you're not kind of catering it to them, then that's not going to grab their attention, right? So I think that is it. Like that's just the way to think about it is what do the people you currently work with have in common? You can use AI for this, right? You can sort of talk to a chat GPT and say, hey, look, I need to better define my audience. I need to understand who my ideal customer is. Can you ask me a series of questions that'll help me work with you to determine that, right? That's kind of an AI, hack is asking it to ask you questions. Because if you give it that context and that instructions, it's going to go through a whole process with you that's going to get much better results. That
Hmm.
being said, though, I think the best way to do this is to just call up your favorite few customers and ask them some questions, So just kind of dig in on, what were some of the questions that you had before you worked with me? What were some of the problems? What was the thing that happened that made you think to yourself, you know what, I gotta buy a new house, right? Like, what was that trigger
Yes.
point? Those things, if you just take notes on them and what you're always looking for, and I know this is work, but you're talking to your favorite customers. That doesn't feel too much like work, or it shouldn't, right? But you do it and you take notes and then you look at the overlap, and that's what you're trying to find, right? Is what are the things those people had in common?
Oh,
That is
powerful.
what's going to define your overall audience, if that makes sense.
Did you guys really register that? So for many of you, you still don't know who your target audience is. You still think it's just buyers and sellers. It's not.
Mm.
Okay. That's a piece of an audience. That's like a name tag, if you will. It's not who the person is, it's their title, right? Um, One of the best ways, like Nick just said, is just call clients that you actually like and would want to. You wish you just could sell them houses forever because they were great clients to work with. I have plenty of clients. They listen well, right? Tend to have kids, the clients that I work with, right? They tend to have kids. I relate to them on that level. And in fact, you can even get more specific. They tend to have younger kids. Younger kids. Why? Because that's me too. My kids are 5 and 3. So I just feel it. We have this camaraderie. I get them, they get me, right? Get specific. So call some of those clients. Write down those names. After this call, go call some of those clients and just ask them some questions, learn about them, have a conversation. Tell them you were thinking about them today. You just wanted to see how life was going and cross reference and see what similarities 4 or 5 of them have, and you'll start to isolate and realize, oh, okay, this, and this are things that they actually had in common. And now you've got that. And then you take that information, because I agree with Nick. I think that's the better approach. Also, you might end up getting some deals from it. You never know. Um, but then you take that information, you put it into AI, and you say, hey, what are their problems? Basically, right? We'll get more into that and how to navigate that. And then again, last week, if you have not watched the replay for how we built lead magnets, we spent extra time talking about how to use AI to identify problems in these target audiences. Okay. So this was pretty simple, pretty straightforward first step. You're going to take those problems that AI helps you as you identify them, and we're going to use those to generate what is step 2, your script. And so, Nick, I'm going to let you speak a little bit on generating the script as well.
Sure. So yeah, I mean AI is great for this kind of stuff, right? I mean it's very helpful for writing things. It's obviously designed for that. Video scripts is one of those categories. So I think the challenge though is getting AI to write a good script, right? So this is one of those things where if you just go in and say, write me a video script on this topic, you're gonna get something with all these extra instructions, and it's gonna give you like, because basically it's trained on movie and television scripts, right? So if you say video script, it's going to think, okay, movie, television scripts, and what's in those? Shot directions, right? Like, actor names and who's speaking and who has what part. And that's not really, for one, it's hard to read. Two, it's also just, you're not gonna be able to copy it into a teleprompter. You're gonna do a lot of editing to it. So that's one thing, is just make sure you're really clear with AI that like, I only want you to write a script. I always try to say, give me an output I can copy directly into a teleprompter and read word for word without making any changes to it. So in other words, don't include any additional instructions or anything else, right? Just the words I should read. It's a little silly that you have to be that specific, but that is the case, right? So that's one thing. And then, a lot of this is just about giving it, details about yourself, right? This is what I talk about with AI all the time is the more instructive you are, the more guidance you give it, the more information you give it, typically the better output you get. In fact, I'm actually working on a tool. I was working on it this morning for an event I'm doing later today. that will write the scripts for you. You just sort of describe your ideal customer. There just happened to be a lot of overlap in these two events this morning. And so let me know when we're done. I'll offer that to Robert to send out in the newsletter, perhaps. So you can just sort of use that. That'll save you some steps in terms of having to do
Awesome.
it. But it is good to learn how to do this, right? So I think what I would recommend, and I can provide you a prompt for this too, but what I would recommend is go back to what I said earlier, is have AI interview you. So you say, hey, look, I want you to become my expert video script writer. And so what I want you to do is first interview me, ask me some questions so you can get a sense of the way I talk and sort of my style when I make a piece of content like a video. And then when we're done, I want you to write for me a prompt that I can reuse that will write me these kinds of scripts. And then obviously you can mention the stuff I said already about, only give me the output for a teleprompter, etc. But if you do that, what'll happen is it'll ask you a series of questions, and it might ask you for a sample. Rewrite this story in 5 sentences or less in your own voice, and that's going to kind of get incorporated. And that'll give you a prompt that you could reuse, right? So there's layers to this. You can go in and put that into the memory inside chat. I won't get into the complexity there. But you get a prompt that's custom. I think that's the big difference there, right? Like I can give you one that's generic. That's a good starting point. You can use one of my tools. That's going to work even better. But if you can get the AI to write for you this prompt based on a conversation with it that you can reuse, that's going to give you something that's more custom to you, right? So I think that's a good approach. And then, yeah, be very specific as well about how long you want the script to be because it's going to typically default. Usually it's a little wordier than you want it. So make sure you're clear about how many words or how long the script should be when you read it. So 30 seconds is maybe a good starting point. 60 to 90 allows you to give more information, right? So those are typically kind of more valuable videos. But give it a chance to give you multiple, right? Give me a 30 second, give me a 60, give me a 90, and then that's a big part too, is you look over those and decide, okay, does this feel like me or not? Can I get enough information out in 30 seconds to feel like I am speaking the way I normally do? Or does that feel rushed? Do I need to do a longer version? You're going to learn a lot about your own preferences when you do that process too. So those are just some general thoughts, but hopefully that's helpful.
All right, so there's a lot of information there, and it's a lot to take in if this is a newer thing for you. So be honest. Any of you already feeling a little lost? Anybody feeling a little overwhelmed? Anybody have some immediate questions? Because I don't want to jump into the next step if a bunch of you are feeling like, hey, this is too much AI stuff coming at me. I don't really even understand most of what you're saying. It's okay. This is a safe place for you to be like, I don't know, or I don't understand, or I'm a little overwhelmed. So I want to give a quick pause. Anybody feeling overwhelmed or unclear about what Nick was explaining on how to go basically talk to an AI to help it start to build your script for you? Anybody struggling with that? You can just type yes in the chat so that we can pause for a quick second and just address anything because I want to make sure. Because I would always say when we get into videos, the process of video making can feel very, very overwhelming. And so I just want to make sure that you guys are good. And while you guys say yes in the chat, if you have questions, there's a couple questions that just came in too. Um, One, Bonnie asked Nick, is there any AI that you would recommend um, for this particular project, for this particular focus?
The reality is whichever one you use the most is just the one you should use for this, I think. So most people it's gonna be ChatGPT. I will say Claude is sometimes considered to sort of write in a more human sounding way. So if you use Claude and you're familiar with it, like that can be a good one to go with. I will say there's a big difference between the two because ChatGPT has account-wide memory. Like it knows all the stuff about you based on previous conversations. Claude doesn't have that as of now, so that is going to be a big difference as you're talking to Claude and it's not going to know all this other context, right? So that might be extra work for you. Those are probably the two that are most likely going to be your defaults. Some of you might use Gemini, there's other platforms, right? Like, yeah, Bonnie mentioned Gemini. That's fine, right? I think it's more about what you're familiar with. So I always recommend, look, I don't, don't go get another tool just because somebody, said, hey, maybe try this one. That can be a form of procrastination very easily. especially right
Yeah.
now in AI, because there's a new tool like literally every few seconds, it seems like.
Yeah.
But work with the one you know, and only if you feel like it's not ever giving you something that you like, then maybe go try another one, right? So if you go through this process and you talk to it and you give it feedback and it gives you some scripts and they just don't sound at all like the way you would talk and you can't get it right, because you can give it feedback. You say, no, it doesn't sound like me. I would have said this sentence this way, rewrite it, blah, 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 right? If that happens, then go try a different one, but don't do that until you've sort of exhausted the one that you're most familiar with, because that's going to be the most impactful for you.
Otherwise, like he said, it's very common that we see that people who start getting into, I mean, this has always happened long before AI, is that you get lost in the type of video camera, the type of editing software. You
Hmm.
spend too much time on the script. AI is meant to make you faster, which means that if you're spending hours on AI to do something that we told you should last 15 to 30 minutes, then you need to dial back. You need to recenter yourself and say, what am I doing here? I've lost sight, right? And this applies not to just to AI, guys. Just to be clear, this applies to any task that you do, right? Is the sooner you can get out and just actually do it, you will learn faster, you will get better results, and you will beat out all the people who are still sitting there playing with it. Because at the end of the day, if you're not out there working it, it's just you're just playing. It's just a hobby. And can we all agree that we're not here to do real estate as a hobby? I'm pretty sure all of you are here to do real estate as your potentially main source of income. So we need to treat it that way, right? Which means you just need to get in there and do the work and fumble through it. The good news is that Nick and I are active on social media. We're easy to talk to, we're easy to reach. There's lots of resources, but also AI itself. You can just talk to it. You can literally just say, I've lost sight of this script. I don't even know where to start again. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Okay. Quick one from Sunny as well. Why is 60 to 90 seconds the goal?
So I think, to me, if I were to do this from scratch, I would say, look, 30 seconds is a good target when you first start from the perspective of the audience. The shorter the better, right? Because if they don't know you, if you're showing up in front of new people, which to be clear, most of you aren't. Most of you are just going to show up in front of people you've already connected with on social media, and that's really where that's important, right? If you're trying to go beyond that and get to strangers, you want short because they don't know you yet, right? They don't have that commitment. But since you are talking to people you know, I think 60 to 90 is ideal because it's long enough that you can get into some detail, right? Most of us are not really good at talking really succinctly. So if I were to say like, "Hey, give me three things you should do when selling your house, but keep it under 30 seconds," you're going to struggle, right? Like if I say 90 seconds, you're probably going to be able to do it. So I think there's a comfortability level when you're first getting started. 60 to 90 kind of gives you right in that window. You're talking to people who already know you, already hopefully like you, right? There's a reason they're connected with you. So they're going to give you a little more benefit of the doubt. They're going to be willing to watch something a little bit longer. And then that's also enough time to incorporate, a complete thought and then have a call to action, right? What's that next step? What's the thing you want them to do as a result of watching the video? But that being said, the reality is like video is just a form of communication. There's a million different approaches to it. It's almost infinite probably. And so, that is a guideline, especially if you're getting started. But if you have a lot of experience with video, or if you are actively growing a following, or if you're like, hey, I'm on YouTube, everything's 7+ minutes. That's the whole idea. That's all fine, right? These are just sort of general guidelines, especially for a newer person to doing these things. And that's
Yeah.
why, right? I mean, but yeah, I do think there is an argument to be made for the fact that our attention spans just keep getting shorter. And so we are continuing to see trends of moving to shorter and shorter content. So if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, you can try to keep it under 30.
If I may clarify one right there, there was a study that was done because it's not that our attention spans are getting shorter, it's that our patience for irrelevant content is shorter. And the reason why I tell you this, guys, because I don't want you to be discouraged. Nick already knows this. I'm just telling you this. Is that the same people who we are told have a 7 second attention span, some of them even 3 seconds now, are the same people who can sit down and binge watch 10 hours of Netflix. Well, hold on a second. I thought they only had 7 seconds of an attention span. So what Nick even told you, right? It is more about your target audience. It is more about your comfortable level of the confidence that you can deliver. Because if you go to Mr. Beast, he has 40-minute videos now. Some of his videos are 40 minutes, almost all of them are 20 minutes plus. Well, if you listen to all the gurus, well, you can't do that and blah, 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 blah. But he knows his audience. He learned over the years how to do this, right? So for you, just start with the 60 to 90 seconds and you will learn over time. Just listen and pay attention to your audience as they're talking. Even if they're asking more questions, that's actually a great indicator that you had more room. If they are engaging with you, they're saying, oh, okay, we could have talked more. You could have talked more about this, right? All right, so let's move into step 3, which is record your video, right? We talked to you a little bit about how to identify your target audience and their problems, then how to script it out. Okay. Now you need to go record the video. And so, real quick, Nick, I mean, how would you walk them through the process of just the simple steps of just recording their video?
Yeah, a couple simple things to do. I obviously I think simplicity is key, right? Like you got to keep it as easy as possible. You will always be able to find something you don't like about a video that you're in, right? Like we're all very self-critical. I mean, that's going to be natural. So don't overthink it though. The simple stuff you can do, as you see on the screen there, is face the window. All right. So like natural light is typically going to be best for you. But the more important rule in a lot of senses is just to face the source of light, right? So if if you have a room with a window in it, turn toward that window, okay? And if it's a cloudy day, that's actually better a lot of times. So don't overthink that part. Just, make sure I've got curtains over this window over here, but if I open those, I've got some light coming in. If you don't have a window, just turn towards whatever the source of light is in the room and turn off overhead lights, right? Because that's what we mostly have is like ceiling fans and ceiling lights and all that. That tends to create, unflattering shadows on your face. The clean audio part is just about not being too far away from the camera, which if you're making a selfie style video, it's probably guaranteed. One thing to keep in mind is hard surfaces will create an echo. So if you try to do this in like a kitchen and there's hard flooring and cabinets and like that's going to create a lot of echo. If you can step into a room with carpeting in particular, a lot of times that's going to go down significantly, right? So keep that in mind if you're having trouble. I had a client once, they're recording in a room with a hardwood floor, and I was like, well, could go in the next room over, which had carpeting and a big couch in it, and it was night and day difference, right? So that's a couple simple things there. And then really, it's you take the script, you put it in a teleprompter app, and you read it. And a lot of these apps nowadays even have like eye contact fixing tools. So
Yep.
even if you're not looking at the camera, right? Like I've got my computer is over here to the side of the camera. Like I can put my script on the computer there and read it like this, and then click a button in an editing software, and all of a sudden I'm looking at the camera. Like it's crazy, right? So like the
It's crazy.
excuses that we've had for years, oh, I don't like how I look. I don't, it's like it's all getting fixed. So don't overthink it. Just read it. Now, the last thing I'll give you in terms of tips here, because you could obviously go really deep on this if you wanted to, but a hack that's very easy to execute is take your script and split it into 1 to 3 sentence chunks. So instead of trying to read the entire script in one take, which you're gonna derail at some point, you split it into small chunks. If you record with CapCut, which is what I typically recommend, or Big View, that's another option, but especially CapCut, you can actually record a section, hit the stop button, and you can even move the script around in between takes, and then hit the record button. And here's the cool part: if you mess up one piece of it, you click the delete button, and it only deletes that segment and it puts the script back on the screen to where it was when you started recording that segment. So it just streamlines the process, right? So I take my script, if it's 60 seconds, it's probably 4 or 5 segments I could split it into. I just put a little bit of a gap, hit the enter, a couple times or hit return a couple times to create a little space. Read 2 or 3 sentences, stop, resituate yourself, get comfortable again, hit record, read 2 or 3 sentences, stop. Oh, I messed up. Delete. Okay, it's just that segment that gets deleted. I just from experience of working with thousands of people, like that alone will make the process so much better because one of the worst things you can experience is get about 45 seconds into a video, flub it up, and then feel like you got to redo the whole thing, right? So face the window, use CapCut, split the script up a little bit. And then I'll be honest with you, when you're done, the only editing you're really going to have to do, and there's a lot you can do, but the only thing you have to do is just go in and trim the beginning and the end of each clip. That's it, right? So you go to the first clip and you go, oh, I wasn't talking for the first couple seconds. Let me clip that out. You go to the end of that clip and you go, okay, when I reached out to hit the stop button, I'm gonna cut that out, right? So now I got a clean, next clip, same thing. And that's it. Now you've got a polished video. You're making good eye contact with the camera, and you export it. We can talk about a couple other things you can do on the editing side, but that's it, right? And I think the first couple times you do it, keep it that simple, right? Like
Yes.
just do that part, export it, and be done. Because I will tell you the number one thing, other than getting themselves to try it in the first place, the number one thing I see business owners struggle with is they record something, they obsess over how to edit it to make it perfect, and they never end up sharing it, right? So like we want to avoid that. So just get it done, export it, and move on.
Seriously. And basically, he covered step 4, which was edit with CapCut. Um,
Well, a little bit, right? There's other things you can do, and you can kind of work your way up to that stuff. But yeah, that
yeah.
that's the starting point.
And the reason why step 4 is actually the shortest one is exactly what he just said. Is you are not an editor anymore. You don't have to be that. You did used to have to be. That's why I actually used to discourage agents who didn't have the time and willingness to learn how to edit. I told them you either hire someone or you don't do it because it's a lot of work. But now we are in a place. And here's the other beautiful part. The mistakes that you make will actually connect you deeper with your audience because AI is making everything perfect now.
Hmm.
And there is a huge insurgence of AI content that there's actually less people going on camera now. There's actually a shortage, if you will, of human connection. And I think that that's going to be even more prevalent as we go forward. So go be human. Okay? Go be human and don't be afraid to have a mistake inside your video as long as it doesn't
Don't mind.
derail the value you're bringing. You guys understand what I just said there, right? It's okay. If you're making a video and it's a great video and you're on a roll and the sun gets you in your eyes, it's okay to be like blinded by the light. Anyway, okay? It's okay because guess what? Look what you all just did. You just smiled. You just connected with me. Right? Some of you were falling asleep over there, and that little mistake woke you back up. And it didn't derail, it was relevant. I made it relevant versus letting it totally, right? So I just want to remind you the editing process is trim the beginning, trim the end, because obviously there's going to be you pressing the button or reaching forward into the camera, and it's going to be that. Trim those, right? Maybe if you want to add your logo, right? We said you could do that. Nothing wrong with that. To be honest, I don't think branding is as important in the way that it used to be. I think more of what you say in the video and what you lead them to, their next step, is going to have a much deeper impact um, on how you connect with your audience. And that leads us to, I think this is the final one. Yep, which is step 5. Okay, and that's capturing these leads. Okay. So this is something that Nick and I have talked about before. There's 2 ways to look at your videos, right? So there's videos that you make, and then Nick, I'll let you take off with it. But there's videos that you make that are to get people excited. They're an appetizer. They're free. They're out there. And they're low barrier, meaning they'll see it on Facebook and they can watch it right away. They don't have to do anything other than watch it, right? Then there are videos that have locked value, and that's where you'll get an email and a name or phone number. And those will be the ones that you're trying to collect information from. Now, I left this step in here, Nick, but the thing is, I think mostly what we've talked about today, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of what we've talked about today has been the 60 to 90-second videos that might be low hanging fruit that is just out there to build trust. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think so
Okay,
for
so
sure.
I think maybe we skip talking about lead capture today because I think we covered a lot of stuff. And
Hmm.
maybe what we'll do is we'll do a later class on lead capture because I think that could be its own class by itself. Is
For sure.
is how to get people to want to exchange their information for the resources that you give. And
Right.
I think that could be a great follow-up class. So guys, we'll skip this step today. Um, and I want you to just focus on the first four steps, right? Which I'm going to recap real quick is who's your target audience? Go make some phone calls of just the awesome clients that you've worked with. Okay. Learn a little bit about who they are, cross reference and find the similarities they share. Take that information, go put it into AI and say, this is the people I like working with. What are the problems that they're having, especially in life and in real estate, that maybe I, as a real estate agent, could help solve for them? Then you'll get some ideas there. And here's the beautiful part in that exact same chat, you can say, great, now I want to make 60 to 90-second videos, right? It's just one fluid conversation. I want to make 60 to 90-second videos, everything that Nick told you to do, right? Follow through that process and then just go record the video, edit the beginning and the end with your finger all up in the lens, edit that part and go post it. Just go post it. Originally, I was going to do a breakout room, but I would like to work with you guys right now on helping you define your target audience. So, what we're going to focus on is I want you to go write down 5 names right now that you're going to call today of people you want to work with. Now, some of you may be super brand new and don't even have 5 names. Here's what I want you to think about then. Who is someone that you just want to help? Okay. And I want a specific person. Okay. For instance, I've got a good friend. His name's Clinton. He's an awesome guy. He's a single dad. I want to help him own a home. So maybe if I don't know my target audience from past clients, I do know that I want to go help Clinton specifically. And then I'm going to write down some things, call Clinton, ask him questions. So can we go through that, Nick, real quick? Let's say these calls that they should be making. What questions should they be asking these people?
Yeah, so I do think it helps to be transparent and just explain what you're doing, because otherwise this can feel a little bit weird. You're, hey, what are your biggest pain points? And that's kind of a weird question to ask. So
Pretty
but
weird.
it's
Yeah.
typically flattering. You say, hey, now not to be weird, but like I've really enjoyed working with you. We've had a lot of fun together, and so I'm just hoping to learn a little bit more about your background and ask you a few questions so that I can, attract more people like you to work with in the future. Just context is always helpful, but. Yeah, what you're looking for, I think there's two areas where you really get the most gold when it comes to this kind of video, which is educational, right? So number one is what were the questions? What were things that confused you or that made you a little bit intimidated when we were first getting ready to work together, or maybe even right before you decided to work with me, right? So like, what were some of your fears? What were some of your questions? What were some of the things you were not sure how we're gonna go in the transaction, right? So like that's one category, and you're looking to collect as much of that as you can. The key there is to ask follow-up questions, like, okay, well, why was that a challenge to you, or where did you get that idea? Oh, I was worried I had to have at least 20% before I could even consider buying. Well, where did that idea come from, right? Because that's also useful. Beyond that, I think the other thing, and this is a little deeper, but I think can be even more kind of golden nuggets for you, is just other things that are going on in their life that they not may not recognize as related to real estate, and maybe they're not, right? So it's like, hey, if you're willing to share, like, over the past couple of years, are there any things that were sort of like real challenges for you that maybe aren't related to real estate that it would have been nice to have somebody to help you with? Like I always think with the example we had earlier, families with young kids, there's all kinds of things you could talk about when it comes to like how to deal with all the frustrations and overwhelms of having young children, right? Like it's a very overwhelming, and I mean we both know we're both in that right now. So it's like, there's a lot there. And just one little tip, like there are people I've just gotten one tip from, and I tried it, and my daughter just acted a little bit differently for that next couple days. Like that's a huge deal. So that's also the kind of thing, right? Are there other things in your personal life or other areas that you've struggled? Because as an agent, if you can help somebody with something like that, they're gonna wonder, wow, what else can they help me with? Like if they're this
Yes.
useful as like a parent whisperer, what else? Man, they must be a really great real estate agent, right? So I think that stuff can be really good too, because it also allows you to help them before they're thinking about real estate, right? And so when they
Yes.
do, whose face pops into their head first, right? Probably the agent that helped them with something already. So those are the two areas. Don't worry too much about outside of that.
I always
And you
say
don't
it's
be
kind of
surprised if it
like
takes a bit of a conversation too, right?
I always say it's kind of like the Jesus method, right? Which is he could solve an infinite amount of problems for people, but he started with solving the immediate ones that he knew blocked their. Are you hungry? Here's some
Right.
food. Because I know you're not going to listen to a thing I say. Guys, apply that same principle. Of course, you want people to buy and sell their homes. That's how you get paid. That's your job. That's how you provide for your family. But there are, for every single one of them, even the most confident and capable ones, there are a bunch of barriers and problems in their real life that can derail or prevent them from even being able to consider real estate. I know people who make a ton of money who feel so overwhelmed by their life that they can't do real estate, even though it would be a piece of cake. So you have to have that relational side, right? And so what Nick just gave you with that gold, it is gold. It really is because each and every one of you feel the same way as your clients do in your own life. I can't even do video editing because this, and this. Right? I can't even do the lead gen because I don't know where to start there. I can't even make time for lead gen because my kids got schedule or my spouse is in the hospital or I don't have enough money in the bank. Each of you have a series of problems that are standing between you and your goals. Your clients are no different. You just need to identify those problems, help solve those problems. And like Nick said, you will be the parent whisperer. You will be the person that they go, man, they were there for me. They get me. Let's do this. Let's do this. Right? Most of my follow up with clients, by the way, has nothing to do with real estate. I'm one of those few people out there who don't preach that. Most of my stuff is I'm following up with real personal struggles that I know they're having. I make notes. I make notes of who had cancer, who started chemotherapy. I make notes of someone who had their store broken into. I make notes of someone who was struggling with their citizenship exam. I make notes of these things, and that's what I follow up with because I know that's what they actually care about. And those problems are much bigger than whether they're going to buy or sell a home. It's the truth. So go make those phone calls. Go relate to those people. Do you guys have 5 people written down yet? Or do you at least have them starting in your head? Who do I want to talk to? Who do I want to work with? Let me encourage you to go write it down now. Did you know that it's like 29% more likely to actually do it if you write it down? Because lots of crap stays in our head. Let's be real. There's way more in our head that never actually gets done. Come on now. So go write down those things, guys. Go write down. If you've got names, go write down names. If you don't have names, then just go write down things that you want to help solve for people, right? I lead a men's group on Thursday nights. They asked me, hey, which group do you want to lead? I had to ask myself the same question that I'm telling you right now. Everybody needs help, guys. Everybody needs help, but I can't help everybody. You can't help everybody. And so I said, okay, well, I know for sure young men right around this age group, and I won't say the specifics, but things they're struggling with, very specific things they're struggling with, or couples that are just getting engaged or newlyweds. Because I have spent a lot of time and I'm very passionate about pouring into my marriage and developing my marriage. And so I knew these are my 2 people, right? So who are your people? Anybody want to share? I want to hear some of these. Okay. I want to hear what's going through your head, these people. Anybody want to share? Do the raise your hand or something and I'll unmute you. I want to hear this because I think this will be good to get out there and to start sharing. So who's got something they want to share? I know some of you do. Don't even be shy. Come on now. This is 101 in getting into videos. Just talk.
Hmm.
All right, Shane, I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah, I saw you. I'm putting you on the spot. I'm gonna unmute you. You tell me who you're feeling. And it's okay if you don't have concrete. We'll help you through this. All right, I'm gonna ask to unmute. There we go. All right, who you feeling? What's going through your head right now?
Um, Even though it's not the highest dollar, I have always been attracted to people that are looking to buy land and build and things like that. I don't mind hiking through the woods and all that stuff, you know. Uh, so I guess people that are, looking for land and trying to solve there's like a million problems with that. in itself.
Mm.
Whole lots of complexities.
I like that. I like that. So that's something that what I'm hearing is you like to work with land and then people who appreciate land. Now, what does that mean? I know you've sold land before, so give me a couple examples of what someone that buys land, some things about them. Do they tend to be fishers, hunters? Do they tend to be very analytical? Tell me a little bit about these people that like to buy land.
Uh, Generally, they're chasing the Tennessee dream, right? That I want some land, I want privacy. I don't want to be near my neighbors. Those are all the like the common themes.
Okay, pause, pause. Do you know what you just did right there? You just made videos. You said privacy, that's problem that they want to have solved, right? And there's plenty of people who live in communities who are willing to give up their privacy, which means they're not your target audience, right? Do you understand that? There's plenty of people who are happy to give up their privacy for affordability, for location to schools or jobs, right? So privacy was one, right? The desire to be on land and have activities, right? So do you guys see how quickly this happened? Now, Shane and I have talked before, and he said, "Man, I just want to help people buy and sell." But just in this quick conversation, he just identified videos he could make that would speak directly to his target audience. You guys see that? It just happened right in front of you. That's how easy this is. It actually is easy. You just got to start talking. You got to start thinking. So go talk to your clients. Shane, thank you, man. Appreciate you allowing to be on the spot like that. That's how easy it is. It'll come up in the conversation. I was listening though. Had I just been ignoring him, had I just been like, oh God, I have to talk to Shane. Yep, I'm going through the questions. I wouldn't have heard the word privacy. So you need to listen when you're talking to your clients. Listen to them because Shane didn't know what to tell me. He didn't know. He didn't say, oh, this specific problem for these specific people. I had to listen and identify it myself and extract it. That's what you will have to do too. You'll have to listen. Most people are not good being put on the spot. Most of them are just like, I don't, whatever. Okay. All right. I feel like we're running on that time. So if you have additional questions, let us know, and we'll drop them in. We're going to drop something in the chat for you too. Some little treats from Nick himself and put them in the chat right here. You go. So these are some sample videos that are going to give you just a good example. Now remember, you don't need to be these videos. Do not try to be these videos. There are people who turn around and have super fancy edit videos because they like that, they're good at it, and it's part of their passion. There are people who don't edit anything. I'm talking about they don't even edit the beginning and the end, but they are so real and they're so consistent and they're so relevant that people love them for the authenticity. They love them for how real they are, right? In particular, moms on TikTok are very good at this. There's a lot of moms on TikTok who literally sit in their car with a dirty camera lens and talk about real life problems. And other moms say, that's me. I love this. Okay, so just go and do the thing. These are just good examples. I hope you enjoy them. Now, who's got some questions for Nick or myself or anything like that? I see one in the chat already. Gloria says, how can I prompt ChatGPT on helping me with those kinds of questions? Nick?
Yeah, I mean, so ChatGPT is going to be very well versed in what's called a customer avatar. It's a very common marketing concept. So if you just use that word customer avatar or that term, that will help it sort of set up correctly for helping you with this. So, I mean, honestly, if you just say, hey, I want to create a customer avatar. I'm going to call some of my customers and I'm going to ask them a series of questions to create that profile. What questions should I ask? If you give it some more detail on who that person is, I live in this city, they tend to be a parent, or they tend to be single, or they tend to have dogs, whatever you do already know about them, that will help it be more specific as well. But that's it, right? Customer avatars. Remember that term, and AI will be able to really chip in for you.
All right, couple other questions that we're seeing. Um, does CapCut have a teleprompter? I believe it
Yes.
does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so what you do is when you go into CapCut, don't just don't start anything right off the bat. There's a bunch of buttons on the home screen for different tools. You're looking for the one that says camera, and when you open that, you're gonna see that on the right-hand side there's a teleprompter you can click on and open. Just paste your script in there. You should be good.
All right, I'm going to answer this question. I'm about to make everybody laugh or feel really uncomfortable, or both. Kathleen says, my biggest challenge is that I feel like my eyes look terribly uneven, one larger than the other. What can I do to fix that or distract from it? Okay, I'm going to be real with you guys. Okay. There are parts of our bodies, all parts of our bodies are uneven. Women, you know this with your chests. Men, you know this with other down below. Your body is uneven. Stop trying to hide the way that you were made. Okay? We are all uneven in the way that we were formed. You have to focus less on yourself. You are distracting yourself from serving your target audience by focusing on yourself. Okay? Steve Jobs was one of the most brilliant minds ever in the tech space. And he wore a black turtleneck every single day and the same blue jeans. He wasn't particularly handsome, right? He wasn't trying to have this fit, ripped body and always worried about the right pose. He wasn't always particularly great at even how he communicated with employees. He was very short, not mean, short. Don't misconstrue that. However, he was obsessed with the people he was serving. Nobody, not Bill Gates, nobody knew the average everyday consumer like he did when it came to computers. And then later, when it came to iPods, iPhones, he understood the average person, not the corporation. Bill Gates was good at that. Microsoft was particularly good at organizations. But Steve Jobs made it personal. He made Apple for you. He was obsessed with you, not his looks. Most people didn't even know he had cancer. He was obsessed with you. You should be obsessed with your client. If you're looking at yourself and you even are spending this time looking at, oh, my nose is too big and my hair is not right, and my eyes are uneven. Yes, of course. But the thing is that you are flawed. Guys, we're flawed. Some people find my voice obnoxious. Okay, they're not going to be good people to work with for me then because I am going to talk through the whole transaction. Okay? So, bye. Kathleen, if someone doesn't want to work with you because your eyes are uneven, get out of here. That is someone who was not serious even remotely about real estate and they were there just to cause problems. Okay? That's the real solution is Kathleen, don't worry about it. Go make the video. Okay? Because anybody who doesn't want to work with you because you feel your eyes are uneven, come on. That's just your own struggles. Don't put that on your clients. Don't project that on your clients. Okay? And believe it or not, here's what's awesome that's going to happen. As you start to do this, you're going to become increasingly comfortable with who you are and the way you sound and the way you look and everything like that. You will, because this is how you do it. Psychology even says that the best way to overcome fear is to face your fear. Okay? I love you the way God made you. You're going to make great videos. You're going to resonate with the right people, and they're going to be so happy to be working with you. All right? I mean that. I mean that for all of you because all of you have things that you're going to be insecure about. Focus on them, not you. Just do the work, and it will work. It will work itself out. And it never goes away, no matter how much money you make, by the way. Taylor Swift is one of the richest women in the world. She's also one of the most hated. They'll make fun of her for anything. Grown men will make fun of her for anything they can find. They'll be mad because she shows up to a football game, but then they'll be mad that she didn't show up to a football game. She ain't worried about it, guys. She knows her people. She serves her people. She's obsessed with her people, and she kills it. Okay. I'm getting all like goosebumps here because I love you guys and I really hope you take that message because you will resonate with people at such a deep level, right? And that's really what Nick said all along. Focus on them, focus on their problems, get to know them, go make content that's relevant to solving those problems, and they will choose you over someone who doesn't do those things because you would choose someone, right? All right. We'll have replays for you. We'll put Nick's video samples out in a post inside the Facebook group for you too. Misa, go ahead and drop the YouTube and Facebook group links real quick, please. And feel free to subscribe. We give it all away free. Nick, you are amazing. Thanks for always being here and supporting. I love the content you do. I love all the stuff that you teach. So I appreciate you, man.
Of course, yeah. Always happy to do it. It's a lot of fun. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we dropped the Facebook group in the chat, and make sure to jump into there, and we'll get you. We'll make a post where you can access some of this stuff, and then Nick's coming back next week. This is the most fun one to do because it'll just blow your mind. Last time we did a teaser of this, Nick is just gonna show you guys in 15-ish minutes how to build an app start to finish without ever coding, without ever being smart and tech savvy, that will make your clients just go, whoa, you must be the most tech savvy agent ever. And you're like, oh man, I don't even know. Okay. So I'm excited. Next week's gonna be a lot of fun. I just love this because it's just really, really fun to see that this is a possibility. So I can't wait to see you guys next week. Get in on those links. And Nick, any parting words?
I think that's about it. But yeah, next week will be a lot of fun. So if you've ever been curious about being able to offer something to people that they have never seen before, that's what we're talking about. So it might be a little advanced for some of you, but I think you'll find it interesting no matter who you are.
That's right. All right. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you later. See you next week and see you in the Facebook group. Bye.
Bye.